minds think alike. Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. Great Minds Podcast. Great minds think alike. Let's rock. You're now tuned into the Great Minds Podcast. You're now tuned into the Great Minds Podcast.
All right, welcome to the Great Minds Podcast. This is Derrick.
This is Vaughn.
And we're here with Dr. Gemar Mills. How you doing, man?
What's going on, bro?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me, fellow alumni.
Yes,
Here
sir.
we go. Red Hawk.
Exactly.
Appreciate having you, man. So we're going to just get into a brief introduction before we get started. We got Dr. Mills, hails from Paterson, New Jersey. Tremendous educator, known as the turnaround principal for his work at Shabazz High School and other places. And the current Chief Academic Officer and Executive at TGMP-Eps, College Athletic Public School. So welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir. All right, Dr. Mills, let's get into a little bit of your background.
Yep.
What you got for me?
I mean, listen, man, have you seen the saying, like, I'm just a kid from Paterson? Ultimately, that's about right. I mean, I came up there, I grew up in the projects there. My mother had me when she was 16. I had my sister when she was 17. You know, we were just figuring it out. I got an opportunity to get to Montclair State by playing football. Got me there. And then from there, I was just figuring it out. Majored in mathematics, graduated, and started my teaching job fresh out of college in Newark. And so that work being done in Newark, within 2 years, I was able to get the chairperson of mathematics position, which was huge because I was only 25 at the time. And after getting it, I put a lot of work into it, a lot of effort into it, heart and soul. And the following 2 years into it, I got promoted to be the principal.
Wow.
1 year, actually. 1 year into it, I got promoted to be the principal. Wrong. That's all wrong. Promoted to be the vice principal.
All right.
And then I did that for 1 year before becoming an actual principal. So I was 27 when I first got the principalship. So it was surreal. It wasn't a job that I was interviewing for.
Word.
It was a job that the kids in the community were like, we think you're the right person. I was like, I've been here. I'm not sure this is repairable. We might need to do some different things. But again, I took on that task. The people, the community, the students. You know, a lot of people don't speak about what the students put in to get us to where we were, what the staff put in, you know, that mantra, no days off. People really committed to that. And 1 year we had some great success. And I've just been getting a lot of opportunities from there, you know, perfecting my craft, you know, trying to just learn more and continue to do right.
Definitely, no doubt. I want to kind of go back to like your childhood too, just as far as growing up in Paterson and so forth. Could you shine a little light on that about your upbringing, and also was education a major part in your household? You know?
Oh yeah, so no. Definitely first generation. My mom had never been to college. Like, she had got her high school diploma probably when I was getting out of college.
Wow.
She was just like finishing up the high school diploma because, you know, children and things like that. I would say that education was important to her. It wasn't something that was just like at the forefront of the household. Survival was really at the forefront of that. You know, I've been through a lot. We came up rough. We was poor. It was real humble beginnings. I was on Section 8 up until I actually became the chairperson at Shabazz High School. You know, before then, we just couldn't afford to do anything but kind of accept what we were getting, because even making, you know, $43,000, $47,000 just wasn't enough to get us out of the hood.
Right.
But thinking about like the early stages, like, you know, I was involved in stuff I probably shouldn't have been involved in. I've met you guys before, but for those of you out there, I don't know if you're going to view this, but if you are, you might see the scar that's on my face that runs into my beard.
Right.
I have 400 stitches in my face.
Wow.
Yeah. So again, like, I hung out with a lot of the older guys. I was always a big kid. They used to take me places I shouldn't be. So I had experiences I should have never experienced. And one of those was like being assaulted by a bunch of older men in the neighborhood who saw me some days before with that older group of kids. And those guys did some damage to one of their friends. So seeing me at 15, but with them, they don't, it's like age is not registering. It's like he's an adult.
Right.
You know? And so I had to deal with that. So yeah, man, it was, I think it's sad to say, but it was a very traditional story of a young Black man kind of growing up in the projects, just dealing with, you know, poverty and trying to find a way. And sometimes those ways are not always legal. But I was fortunate enough, man. God bless me. I got into sports. It kept me away from a lot of the nonsense. It was my excuse not to be in front of a building. You know, and my guys came to the games. It kept me occupied when my mother wasn't able to do that. And I made it. I made it to Montclair State, and I just kept pushing. Because even taking that thing, man, I didn't think that graduation was in my future.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you had, I'm sorry, D, I want to say something. Pretty sure you had good, strong coaches too.
Yeah.
Like
so
coaches that pushed you,
Yup. And so, like, the coaching piece, like, I had a coach, man. This guy gave me a job doing construction, paying me under the table about $10 an hour, which was more than any, you know, minimum wage job was offering. Because before then, I was at Checkers. Like, out of Checkers, you know, get the grease off my shirt. It was like, come pick up these bricks. And then he also would, like, take me to and from practice, you know. And I think, like, the money was cool, but the lessons I was learning, just speaking to him about what life could be, the experiences we were having at just other people's homes that we were fixing.
Yeah.
You know, see, like, oh, like, he's a guidance counselor at the school. He has a pool in his backyard. You know, or he's the head football coach at Wayne Hills. You know, his house is 5,000 square feet. Like, these things are realistic opportunities that are within your reach. And, like, those were the conversations we would have over lunch, and the importance of, like, using your brain and not using your brawn, right? Because you don't last that long doing that. And so it was just like strong coaches from Ted Sabota to Shelton Prescott, who was a brother who I used to call my big brother. People would say we look alike. I really latched on to him, and he just was principled in his beliefs. And, you know, he was, like, you know, really into just living your life by code. And so that really helped me, you know, as I navigated my home life and then, like, the hood life when I wasn't inside the house.
Right.
No doubt.
So leaving high school, what made you? Because a lot of people don't like math. You know, that's not like a thing that, especially I wouldn't even say African Americans don't, you know, attach to or identify with that. What made you want to major in math?
It was just the subject I was good at. Like,
okay.
I'm gonna tell you what was. I would never wanted to write 5 pages of something that I could tell you in 5 sentences out of my mouth.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
And so math was just the thing, like, solve an equation, solve a problem, figure a thing out. You know, it wasn't until I got to, like, Calc 2, Calc 3 when math problems became 2-3 pages long. I was too deep in by that point. I
put that work in already.
Yeah, I was already in. At that point, it was no turning back. But that's math just came really easy to me. I think, like, the analytical side of my brain was just interested in knowing that there's an answer. Like, this variable has an actual number to solve a problem. And I fell in love with that aspect of it. And then when I was actually majoring in computer science, before I transitioned into mathematics fully. But the issue with computer science was I couldn't afford a computer. So I was forced to switch.
Yeah.
I had the money to do the work that the teacher was asking for because I was on a football team. The only way you can get my work done, I had to go to the Sun Lab to run these programs, right? And it was just like, it was too much. I was like, man, I can't do it. I'm switching my major.
Like, I got pen and paper. I can handle this.
Yeah.
So leaving high school, going into college, where Montclair was the first school that you went to, how was that transition for you? Because I tell people a lot of times when you leave high school and go to college, it's a difference because college, you don't have to be there. So you really have to have that extra push to stay and stay motivated.
A discipline.
You have so many discipline because you can might have 2 classes a day, you're free for the other whatever 10, 12 hours. So how you like the transition? How did you handle that transition?
I would say the transition from high school to college, as far as like independence, wasn't as hard as getting accustomed to, again, the reading and the writing. So I was able to really navigate that space for one reason, well, a few reasons. One, I had a lot of independency, like coming into college, but 2, my brother came with me.
Yeah.
And so having like that person that was your accountability partner, you know, not the person that was inspiring you, but it was like, now we got homework to do, you know, or that person was like, it's time to get to class, or like organize your books. And he was majoring at the time in accounting, and then he transitioned to like math. But those 2 things was real pivotal for me. But when we took that entrance exam, I tested in the Calc 1, but I tested in the basic reading.
Mm-hmm.
So like I had to go through those courses because the school just didn't prepare me. Or maybe I ain't prepared myself because I just wasn't interested in writing papers, reading them books. And I can truly say, I don't know if I've ever even said this on any podcast, probably because they didn't ask these questions. Like I had never read a full book leaving high school.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can get through a couple chapters, skim a couple pieces, and then take the summary off the back of the book, and the teachers would accept the papers.
Just enough to get by.
That's what I was dealing with.
Right.
Yeah. You know, so by the time I got to college, I had work to do.
Yeah, some catching up to do.
No, I definitely understand that. Yep.
I want to talk about your work at, did you start at Eastside first?
Yeah, I was at Eastside, but not Paterson Eastside.
North Eastside. Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about your work at Shabazz. You know, just a follow. I'm from Newark, so I'm familiar with the schools there. So Shabazz was about to close at one point, right? Or taken over by the state or something like that?
Yeah, all that's accurate.
Okay. All right. So I just wanted to clear that first. Now, how did you, because I know it's not like, you know, it's not like a Joe Clark thing. Like, I mean, he did his thing, but it's different. Like you're just the headpiece of the school.
Right.
You know, and I think obviously the kids get credit too because they actually did the work. How did you get the staff on board? Because, you know, as a staff member and a teacher, it's kind of easy to be like, oh, they don't expect these kids to pass anyway. Let me get my bag and get out of here. How'd you get that staff on board to really dig in and see your mission?
So I would say for any leader out there that's in the work, right? And just like disconnected from the staff, their culture, their needs, and then the students, because that's what it was. It was broken at Shabazz. And when the state came in, I never forget a student being interviewed and literally saying to the state employee, "This our school. Like we run this." They wrote it down, like, you know. They like, this is wild. Like, we not coming back. They pulled the fire alarm. State workers went outside. They hit them with snowballs.
Wow.
They didn't even stay the full 5 days after that visit. That's when we got the recommendation that it should close. But to answer your question around staff, it was mindset. You know, so the mindset of the staff was extremely important, as well as being in integrity. And so for what integrity meant for me was keeping your word. And so if I said I was going to do a thing, I did that thing. And if I couldn't do that thing, I went and apologized to that staff member personally. And then I made a new commitment. And so for us at the time, in such a poor climate, there was a lot of things to be afraid of, right? And so one, many of the staff members were afraid of the students, right? So we had to deal with that. And I had to make a commitment to kill that fear. They were afraid of us closing, right? So this is like this fear of like, well, where do I go from here? I've been here for so long, right? And then there was a fear of like co-locating schools, right? So we don't have enough children. They're gonna bring students in here and take over our building. We don't want that either.
Right.
And so when you think about building mindset, I just begin with the fear tactic. It's like, these things that you are afraid of, they're real. And I remember we had a saying we called it the dog house, right? Like Shabazz, the dog house, this mascot is a bulldog.
Bulldog.
Right. And so the mantra at that year one was like, we got to protect this house. Right. And like, so it's not just my house, it's your house. So when you leave here and you say things and you speak ill on the school, it's affecting you, because less students mean less jobs, means less opportunity for children. So y'all need to buy into the fact that it's time to fix it.
Right.
And I would say, man, that didn't mean anything. That didn't mean like 80% of the people was getting on board because I was saying that. I was also young. I was the fourth principal in 4 years. So they're like, you know, we know you, but it's not going to work.
Yeah, you're going to be gone next year.
Exactly. But I think that what we did do was we kept our integrity. If we said that a student is in trouble when the parent conference is going to occur, it happened.
Right.
If I said I was coming to do an evaluation, it happened. If I said I wasn't going to tolerate students being in the hallways and hanging out and using drugs and things like that, it happened. And it happened rapidly, like rapidly enough for, if we were at a 70 not on board, 30 on board, by month one, we was definitely at 50-50.
Right.
By the time we got to month 2, 3, 4, it was more like 80-20. And I don't know if I ever got over the 80-20 hump, but it was a critical mass of people that had bought in that this thing could actually be different than what we've been experiencing for the last 10, 20, 30 years, depending on how long you have been at the school. And you'll see teachers no longer afraid to say, hey, that student right there said this and did that. And when they did that, I did something about it. Like, you know what? He's going to be excluded, because suspension was like a thing I didn't want to like buy into. So exclusion meant you can come back to school as soon as your parent can be with you, or as soon as your grandmother can be with you, or as soon as whoever your guardian is, you can come back tomorrow as long as you got an adult, because I wanted to help the student understand like this holistic, and we can get your parent in here to deal with this. And at some point, because you got real difficult kids, what they do, they keep getting in trouble, parents come in, and then what I will ultimately have is a parent saying, I'm not going to keep dealing with this, so you going to get it together. And it was like those things that we begin to turn a corner fast. And I know I'm saying we a lot because it was a we.
Definitely.
It's got to be.
Yeah, I changed traditionally, and you all know from high school, you got a 9th grade vice principal, you got a 10th grade vice principal, 11th grade vice principal. That format doesn't work because having a vice principal over a grade level, you're responsible for all climate culture and you're responsible for the academic program. The two of those things create inconsistency.
Yeah, that's two separate entities.
Yeah.
So I was like, listen, you only responsible for discipline. You make sure kids stay in the hallways. Stay out the hallway, and make sure that we offering proactive things, prevent them from wanting to be in the hallway. And then y'all just focus on academics. If it's ever an issue with behavior, send it to him.
Okay.
You know, I think what people don't realize about kids, even kids that are like deemed bad kids, all kids, they crave structure. And I think and they don't even realize it.
Yep.
You know, they want to be told what to do. They want to be like guided. So I think
some way.
Right. So I think your vision toward that, it may need help. Because if you let kids run wild, they're gonna run wild too.
So true.
Yeah.
That's a story. There's a story of me being the vice principal. I'm in summer orientation. Senior group says, who is our principal? I'm like, I don't know, but when they get here, I'm going to support them so we can do what we need to do for y'all. They said, why can't you be the principal? I said, because you don't want me to be a principal. I'm not going to tolerate the things that y'all do. And the kids stood up and said, that's what we need.
Yep.
That actually was the conversation that made me interview for the job, because before then, I was opposed to it.
Yeah.
But I was like, the kids believe, I gotta believe. So yeah, they did want it. They wanted structure bad. And I can recall like being a year and a half in, and we riding high, the newspapers then came, and the documentary was being shot and all of this stuff. And I was walking down the hallway, and it was like 4 kids like ran up the exit.
Mm-hmm.
He was walking toward me, and he was like, "Are you slipping?" And I was like, "Oh," but it resonated. Like, he's right.
Keep you on your square.
I get back on it. So I could always appreciate, the young men and women at that age just being real observant and committed to what we wanted to do. Like, it's a group of kids here that really want to be normal and don't want to accept that we can't be smart.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. I could tell just by listening to you as well, like you're just a natural leader. You know what I'm saying? And I think that comes probably from your childhood. And also, I like to always tell people sports. And people sometimes don't think that you have to be the best at a sport. I don't look at sports as being the best all the time. You're going to have some superstars and some you're not, but it teaches you team leadership and camaraderie and how to play in a team. So basically what you said, that you went in there and it was 70-30. You let them, and you were able to get them to go 50-50, then 80-20. That shows about the team concept. And you always say we. You're not saying me or I. It's always we. So I think you get that, and you learn that from playing sports. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, no, that's a true statement. That was my first leadership opportunity. My first leadership role ever in my life was being a captain of the football team.
Yep.
Like, I realized that, people of my age bracket and younger, they listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I see adults seek me to help them help others.
Yep.
And so I totally agree. I always say that. That's like, learning how to move as a unit, to go on 2, to go on 1. Like, all of those were aspects of the game that really played out in my life. And that, like, social emotional learning, those soft skills people speak about, came through sports. Like, even perseverance.
Right.
Yep.
Like, how do you continue to push in the fourth quarter when you're going both ways and this guy is still ready to go because he rested?
Exactly.
Like, it's like that. These are the things that I was learning on the football field. So I agree. It transcended to many of the things that are the way I think about, like, building momentum and success. Like, I know that I can't do it alone, that you need other voice, you need other people, and you need other skills, because I'm not going to know everything.
Right.
So if I don't know everything, I got to lean on people who do it better.
So I wanted to ask you, as far as do you remember your first night before you became, when you were principal, before the first day of school? How did that feel for you? Like, tomorrow I'm the principal. like everything's different. How did that feel? Do you remember that
Listen,
day?
Man,
that night?
Yeah. So y'all got good questions, man. That you're gonna be the principal. And I'm hearing it from everybody. I'm hearing it from a custodial worker.
Everybody got the scoop.
Everybody got the scoop but me, right? I'm like, nah. So I get the call. It's August 30th.
Oh man, come on.
And we have 20-something vacancies.
Wow.
They're like, come on down. I talked to the superintendent. She was brand new. This was Cammie Anderson. And she was asking me, like, what are my plans? What's my 30-day plan? Like, what do I think my strengths are? What I thought my weaknesses were? And I remember telling her, like, I thought my weaknesses was, semantics and really, communicating my vision to people from all walks of life. Because some people just have, like, a vision of what it's supposed to be. And, like, if you don't communicate to them effectively, you can't get them on board.
Right.
And so she was like, I agree with that. And I'm going to offer you the job. So maybe she had a plan to do that anyway, but I don't know. Because nobody else ain't want it. So I definitely believe that. Like, I'm the principal, not because I'm that good, because they don't have nobody else. So they like, look, the community said this kid could do it. Have at it. We're going to lose it anyway. Right. I personally think that's what it was. But I get the job, like you said, it was actually 2 days before the teachers were coming in. And so I would say my anxiety, or how anxiety shows up for me, or fear shows up for me, it shows up as action. Like I can't deal in like what's going to happen, even though I may feel that way. So it makes me want to make sure I know what's going on. Gotcha. And so I start making calls. I start pulling people together. My athletic director, I knew he was a gym teacher. I knew he was really excited and passionate about athletics. I was like, man, I need you to be my vice principal in charge of climate and culture, because you know what it looks like to take hundreds of people and put them where they need to be.
Yeah, he was tapped into that anyway, just from being involved in that.
And so I moved him right up to the space. So I'm like, well, who's going to be my athletic director? I'm like, wow, well, we got the winningest coach in New Jersey, Coach Watson. She knows sports. She knows this. She's been in the building. She knows the neighborhood. Would you be the AD? She's like, most definitely. You know, I took all of my academic people and I said, listen, you no longer deal with discipline. It's only his job. I need y'all to be real academic leaders. So I start putting those pieces together because I did have less vacancies in administrative space. And then that went into overdrive for bringing in teachers.
Okay.
So that I like to believe that that plan is kind of what set us up powerfully to be successful. But I don't know, man. God definitely was there, because there was a lot of vacancies. I mean, I would say we didn't get down to like 5 vacancies until October.
Wow, you just filled those with subs?
Yeah, well, it was subs until we got people in. It was, and then, you know, we kind of start saying yes to people that we wouldn't normally say yes to. But it was the work, like having the administrators be able to just really do instruction. We cycle people in and out in a real way, and kids never felt, you know, let down.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and not 100%. Like it'll never be 100%. I'm sure somebody could tell you a story like, nah, because I remember it was crazy in this class. Right? Like, so it happens.
Yeah.
And I expect it. Yeah.
Especially dealing with high school kids, you know how it goes.
Yeah, they're so unpredictable.
Yes, they are.
I want to talk a little bit about your book, the turnaround 180 days it changed. What made you do that for other like school leaders?
Yep. So, I mean, one of the things that I realized kind of coming into this whole like turnaround principle piece was people wanted to know, what did I do? Right. And then for the first year or two, I couldn't really tell you. It was more like intrinsic. I just knew that it was the right thing to do.
Right.
When I started my doctorate studies, I began to realize that I didn't think of this. This is like empirical research that you should have been doing anyway. And so I began to name it, right? I've been saying, oh, that's a mindset shift. Oh, that's structural changes, right? Like, this is like, we need to do professional development and then like monitor it. Like those things begin to make sense to me. And then I felt like I had a framework that could help others. And so once I knew that the framework existed and I could name what they were, then I just wanted to kind of elaborate on those pieces. And then naturally, I think that you want to tell your story. And so the first piece of the book is more of the turnaround of me from like childhood to the principalship, right? And then the principalship to like how you turn around the school is more like part 2.
Gotcha.
So that was like the inspiration, is just people were asking for it, you know, like I began getting interviews and like, oh, this young guy, he's doing this, and all this stuff began to happen. But it still didn't make sense to me until I started my doctorate program. Once I started my doctorate program, I was like, oh, like these dots are now connecting for me. It's really how I took the school from 63% to 75%. Because I would have plateaued. I didn't know how to get past like, let's just fix this and like make sure kids are learning. And it was like, but how are you dealing with the climate culture of the staff? What are you doing to impact their feelings? How do you stop the line from the Chronos machine? These were things that I was learning on how to do. And that's what I would put in the book.
Gotcha.
No doubt. And, I think the fact that your youth at the time of you getting this position, I think that played a part in everything as well. Because I always feel that, when you're dealing with kids, especially teenagers, they can relate. So if you're in your mid-20s, you're not that far removed from them going through their experiences. So that helps out. So do you think that definitely played a part why you was able to get the kids on board too? Because you can speak the language, you can kind of relate to them, as well as you had the drive to keep, to reach out and build with the school. Because a lot of times when you're older in age, no age discrimination with anybody, but you think differently. You think differently, you feel differently. You don't want to do that extra mile. You're like, you know what? I've been doing this for 35 years, whatever. So how do you think that played a part as far as your age?
Age was important, and I agree. Like this, the proximity was far enough, but not so much so that I wasn't tapped in.
Right.
So the music I'm listening to, like, I'm coming to school like, oh, you ain't hear that new Drake. Oh, how you get that? Or I'm teaching them how to download music or how to get this or get that, or even from like, I like nice cars. Like they're like, oh, Mills pulling up in this, Mills driving that.
You like Big Bro. You like Big Bro pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what that did is it inspired them to believe that they had another way out.
Yep.
Right. Like, and I could have that conversation growing up in my neighborhood. I used to do this math problem with my young men. And I would say, like, let's say like you a hustler, you the biggest hustler, and you make $1 million in the streets. And I'll say, like, how much time you think you're going to get if you're making that much money? And they would all say, 25 years, you're going to definitely you getting life with that much. Right? So like, you right. So I was like, so I would break down 25 years and turn it into hours. And it comes up to 219,000 hours.
That hit different.
So, I'm doing the math problem on the board. So I take the million, I divide it by the 219,000 hours. I'm saying, how much you think you make an hour?
Less than 5 hours.
Making less than $5 an hour. So when they see that, I'd be like, see, so when you getting that regular job, you already winning. Don't cut lifelines off. And so
that's dope, man.
That's dope. That is dope.
That's the type of stuff I wanted to connect with them on that level. I wanted to make promises I was going to keep. Like, get out of here, get these degrees. I got y'all. And I do. I had my student, he built my website. He still maintains my website.
That's dope.
And now he's about to get a contract with me to run my robotics club.
That's dope.
And I have other students who are just like, all right, I could bring you in. You ain't finished school, but I got a food service position for you.
Mm-hmm.
I might have a teacher's aide position for you. But, I just wanted to tap in with them in a real way. Which you're right, age made it possible for them to even like buy in to like, he know what he's talking about. Or he cool enough for me to respect that this is something that I could do.
I think all kids need it, but especially our kids, especially minority kids that need to see that positive male or female influence. And that could help change the trajectory of their whole life by seeing that. And you did that a lot. I'm pretty sure. You did that a lot of kids.
What we used to do, I changed this in the school. Was one of the things that you might experience. And I don't know which high school you went to in Newark, but if it was any of the comprehensives, you probably had this experience.
No, I went to a private, brother.
Oh, okay. All right. There it is.
I was in the West Side School District. Moms wasn't having that, though.
I get it. So, but they would cut the intercom off from the classroom. So you wouldn't really hear the announcements because as you're talking, the kids used to press the button if it was a sub or whatever. So we used to have everyday convocations. So for 20 minutes every morning, I had the entire school in the gym. And I was the face. I wouldn't let anybody else do it. Mm-hmm. And so I got an opportunity to talk to them about specific things. We had motivational Mondays, and we used to celebrate every Friday where I wanted to make education cool. And I did it on Most Improved and not like top 10.
Gotcha.
Right. So in Most Improved, you can take a kid that was struggling and have him be celebrated by the entire school because, maybe he went from an F to a D.
That's dope.
But he got the certificate and the kids would be like, oh, it's him. Right? But that applause,
Yeah.
applause that they get and give the kid, like I kind of like this feeling.
It's that confidence that he's giving. He's getting.
I'm getting I'm getting a 75 next week. Let's go.
So yeah, those things, man, that was huge for what we were doing.
Okay.
Definitely. That's dope, man. That's dope.
As we transition, one of the things we like to do with the show, like we have people on, they do, we celebrate what they do, and obviously want to highlight. What are you doing outside of that? What are you listening to in music? Like, what are you tapping into when you get home or when you're in the crib going to school? What are you tapping into?
I like hip hop, so
all right, man.
I'm not about to say Marvin Gaye because that's not what I'm listening to.
Hey, man.
Right now, I would say that Big Sean just dropped the album, so I'm rocking with that. Tory Lanez all in the news, so I'm not choosing the side, but the album good.
Hey, Dr. Mills, since you said it first, I promise you, before you got on, I said to Vaughn, I said, yo, I don't know if I'm supposed to be, well, you said it first, so I'm good now.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying this out loud, but Tory Lanez's album is crazy.
Hey, listen, I'm not saying he didn't do it.
Me either.
Because all signs say that allegedly he did it.
Something happened.
But the music's good.
The music is good. I was saying, like, when you pin people's back against the wall, like, you gonna either sink or swim.
Yeah,
he fighting for his life on that album.
Yeah. He got all types of reasons. He's like, it's the cancel culture, it's the rock, it's everybody.
It's everybody going
I
in.
got my masters, they mad. Like, he got all types of stuff up there.
I promise you, we were just talking about this before you got on. All right, go ahead though.
Yeah, but I mean, so I like, I like new school music. I'm not like an old school guy. Like, really, like Lil Baby is one of my favorite artists. Like, this guy is good, man.
He loves Lil Baby.
Yo, I've been saying Lil Baby, one of my favorite artists all year, and people look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, no, listen, the kid has substance now. He's talking about certain things, and he can make a song. His album.
I can't get on board.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you give him a shot. All I'm saying is, and I'm that person. Like, I like. On Friday when I wake up, new music come out, I'm listening to it. Trippie Redd and Busta Rhymes, I want to hear it, even if I don't like it.
Gotcha.
Like Lil Uzi and Future, I want to hear it. So, I'm listening to it. They drop a song. And again, it's not because I'm trying to be a person. It's like how I grew up, what I was into. Like, music has always been out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That's so my day looks like this. I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I use the bathroom. Get ready to go. I say my prayer, and then it's trap music on the way to the gym.
Let's go.
That's about right.
That's how about what you watching on TV, man? Anything good you watching or?
I mean, a show that I actually like right now, which I thought I would hate. So, I didn't get into Power when it first all kicked off, and so I ended up catching up late. And then I thought it was like, they doing too much. Like, they just making up stuff. So I'm like, this is done. Then Ghost got killed. I'm like, I'm not watching this. And then I watched the first episode, and I was like, oh, like I might actually keep watching this.
Yeah, that book 2 was kind of lit. I felt the same way. Like, all of us felt the same way when they had that last season. They were just stretching it out. They were doing a mid-season finale, and I'm like, all right, let me give it a shot. But I like how they transitioned it with Tariq. I think they made a dope spinoff. I'm locked in. I didn't think I would be.
Yeah, same. And I'm tell you what I like most about it. I feel like there's lessons being taught. Like, every episode is based on actual literature, right?
Okay.
Like, when they talk about Machiavelli, the Prince book, right? When they're rooting this stuff in actual literature, and then giving a breakdown of kind of like a kid from the hood's perspective.
Absolutely.
And he's debating with like different kinds of people. So he's debating with, a billionaire that's a white male. Mm-hmm. He's debating with successful black males. And his perspective is his own, which I feel like is encouraging, despite all of the other craziness with like killing and shooting and drugs. But I could appreciate that it's like, it's rooted in some type of substance. So like, it's entertaining. And I feel like there's like hidden messages. So that's a show that I'm watching currently. I don't know that there's anything else that Billions is a show that I
Billions
really
is a great show.
yeah. So that joint I like a lot. I again the aspect of just like the elitists of this world, how they ultimately make their money and the kind of drama, essentially that they go through. So I enjoy that as well.
I think Paul Giamatti is one of the best actors walking the face of the earth. He can play anything he wants.
True.
Like he can play what's my man Easy Eric not the
Heller.
Heller. He could play Heller. He could
Yep.
play somebody in the 18th century with a wig. He could play George Washington. He could whatever he wanted. He's nice, man. He's nice. Pour it up.
How about sports? Who you into for sports?
So I'm old school in that sense that I got into sports 80s, right? My stepdad at the time was just Lakers and 49ers, probably because they was winning, not because he was like really into it. And so I stuck with that. And so I've been through the rough times with those teams.
That's what I'm talking
now
about.
we out here again.
Yeah, we out here.
You're 49ers fan. I'm a 49ers hater.
Yeah.
Okay. I gotta be real. Like if my brother was standing right here, he'd be like, "You don't even watch sports."
Yo, 49ers, man. Like you said, like a real fan, you been through it. Like you seen it, man. So we back out here. He a Laker fan too. So I'm not a Laker fan. I'm more of I'm a Bull fan. But he's a Laker fan, but he don't like LeBron.
Yeah, I'm a Kobe's Lakers fan, so I'm torn right now.
Really?
Yeah.
And LeBron is playing like he never played before. Man,
nah.
I
mean, he's definitely one of the greatest, and I think I'm trying to appreciate it a little bit more now because I know once it's gone, you'll be like, this dude was really crazy. But yeah, I respect it. I just have some obnoxious LeBron James fans that are friends, and they just they take me to a different spot.
I'm a fan of LeBron. And I mean, just not necessarily basketball. I just like what he represents for the black man.
Right?
Like, LeBron is like first generation, well, not even college because he skipped that, but mother, right? Like high school sweetheart, no scandals. That's huge for somebody to be that wealthy, right? And like people not come out their neck because we tend to have like those experiences. So I like that whole like aura of LeBron is just like greatness all around. When I think about him as an athlete and I think about like Obama as a politician and as a leader, like those guys did it perfect.
Yeah.
They don't have like the baggage that some of our other like celebrities have.
No doubt. I know soon we're gonna get into our rapid fire segment, but I wanted before we touch today, I wanted to get on some social issues, some social justice issue topics for you. So how do you feel about what's going on with the unrest with that, and how do you see it affecting like the kids, at the school? Have you seen any interaction or any questions from the kids?
Yeah. I mean, so I think that it's just unfair, right? Like there's no other way to put it. I'm like in chapter 4 or 5 of like The Color of Law, and just knowing the laws that existed that have oppressed black people. Like, so when people say like, just pull your bootstraps up and go do it, like they're really not informed about like when there were anti-literacy laws way back before slavery ended. They're not informed about like, the Jim Crow laws or the redlining even post desegregation, in the way private developers work with federal government to actually prevent black people from having certain housing and things like that. So those are real issues. So it saddens me to see, scrolling up and down social media or turning on the TV, that is just like more of the same. And it does impact the kids. My son is in 3rd grade, my daughter's in 5th grade, and they want to know what's going on. And some of the research says that the earlier you can begin to embrace the race conversation, the better, because even though they can't articulate their feelings, they're picking up on how you feel and what you project. And so it could be to the detriment of their belief system if you're not really addressing it head on. If they're hearing conversation about like, anti-racism or even racist, they develop hatred. So you got to communicate. And so strangely enough, or maybe intentional, not strange, I do have a children's book coming out, should be out in like the third week of October, specifically around racial bias and like a call to action of a classroom of young people who were like getting clarity from their teacher on what it's all about, and then deciding like, you know what, I think we want to do a protest. So it helps to break it down for like the younger babies to really understand what it takes. So yeah, it's ugly. I think that we are constantly taking 2 steps forward and maybe more back at times. I think that I can appreciate that there are more than Black and brown people joining the movement.
I think that's key. That's the key.
Yeah.
That's the key thing.
So the more of that, the better. And if it means that we're going to paint on the ground to get people excited, let's do it. If it means that we're going to change a street sign, a street's name, let's do it. I think that the next step is we got to organize not our bodies, but our intellect to make clear ask for what it is that we want to change, right? Are we asking for? A bank? Do we want, low interest loans? Are we looking to have our, debt eradicated or to not ever accrue debt as we go to college, for at least 100 years? Like, what is the ask that we think can level the playing field for the things that have been done? And I think that collectively, that's what we need to organize, like our intellectual capital to lay out a plan.
Yep.
That's going to say when they say yes to this, is going to create systemic change in the Black community.
Okay, I agree with that because I think people are just kind of like all over the place. We're like, oh, we want it to be fair. Well, like, what does fair mean?
What's fair, right?
Like, it's almost like we need, like what you're saying, we almost need to focus on something and make something tangible.
Yes. Yeah. Because that's how you can build your own. I mean, you can buy a house as an asset, but if they say, hey, listen, man, here go $500 billion, and we know how we're going to disseminate it, and we know how you're going to be able to recycle the money because it's like interest that goes into an account. Like, I think that kind of stuff is going to create systemic change. I think if we get a stimulus check, it's going to be gone back into consumer the consumerism world, and we'll be broke again, and $1 be out the community.
We'll have some fresh Yeezys though.
Yeah.
and he will be saying, I just bought 5,000 acres in Wyoming. Come check.
He knows what to do with his bread for sure.
Exactly.
So I know with Caps, you have various locations, Paterson location, Plainfield location, I think an Asbury Park location, right? So in regards to COVID, so we know that's a hot button topic. We know that's going on. We all worry about that. We all have kids. How are you guys handling that aspect with your kids at the schools?
So, I've really been taking the state guidance around just like, what are the norms? What is safe? What is the CDC saying? Just because my comfort level isn't my family's comfort level. And I'm somebody who had the virus. So just
wow.
Yeah. So, and I was bad, but I mean,
glad you're good now.
Yeah, word.
Yeah, thank God. I'm telling you, I do all those things you see on social media. It'd be like, you vegan? Yup. You take black seed oil? Yup. You vitamin C? Take all that. Corona still got me. I was like, it probably would save me though, right? So
right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, we've been taking that guidance, and as far as the schools, what you mentioned is like Paterson is in the north, right? Plainfield is central Jersey, and then Asbury Park is more like South Jersey. And so in central and south, the transmittal rates were higher, and so we elected to go full virtual in those schools. So they're 100%. Asbury campus actually returning on October 10th, I believe.
Oh, nice.
And the Plainfield campus is coming back in on November 16th.
Okay.
Now, the Paterson campus, we had a low transmittal rate, and we also had a low percentage of parents that were interested in having in-person instruction. And so we went with a hybrid model there. And so only servicing in 2 buildings with over, let's say, 70,000 square feet of space, we were able to have 100 students in one building, 100 in another at any given day. And so it really allowed us to, again, try and mitigate some of the learning loss that's occurring and just get our systems together and make sure they're safe.
Yep.
Teachers are wearing masks, teachers are doing surveys every day, students are wearing masks, students are doing surveys every day. We have certain flow within the building where you can enter and exit. We have plexiglass over certain spaces to prevent any of the spit or whatever projecting onto another person. We have contact tracing. So like our teachers are grouped in grade levels with their students only, and they're not allowed to interact with other teachers of other grade levels. So if we get a COVID situation, that entire group
just quarantine them out.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was a plan that started off rocky because we couldn't plan for everything. I would say day 1 and 2 wasn't exciting for me. I just felt like we needed to have thought about the people virtual that felt like they should be coming to the school to ask their questions.
Right.
We didn't think about them. But we figured that out by day 2, and it's been smooth. And that's why we're able to open the other campuses and feel comfortable, because we've saw it work in Paterson, and now we can kind of like get ahead of the curve with the other 2 campuses.
No doubt. So everyone listening, you see what happens when you have real leadership. You have leadership, everything works well. If we had it to the federal level, we have no problem. That's another story, though. That's another story.
All right.
I was just having that debate. Go.
For real.
All right, Dr. Mills, we like to wrap up our show with a little bit of rapid fire. So it'll be like a this or that type of question, or
open-ended
question.
Okay.
We like to make it fun, make you make some tough decisions. So, ready to go?
I hope so.
Hey, this ain't tougher than what you've done already, so you good.
Oh, for real, you good.
All right, you played at Montclair, right?
Yes.
Who's the best player you've seen play at Montclair while you were there?
Me. Ain't nobody better than me.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right, second best player, who you got?
Omar Lucas.
Oh, Luke, man, was that
Luke.
dude.
Yo, listen, the type of focus Omar Lucas had, nobody ever had. This guy could work out 3 times a day, get on the field, get you 3 interceptions. Like, and it wasn't because he was just like a genius, right? He just loved the game and just really like perfected his craft.
He was like Ray Lewis out there, man.
He was, man.
Oh, Luke was that
Luke.
dude. I'm definitely tagging him in this one.
What's up, man? I ain't seen you in a while.
Yeah,
and he was a good dude. Like,
real good dude, man.
Mo Green, like some guys that were just like, yo, he's this kid right here. Like, he one of us.
Yeah, O tapped into the podcast, so I'll make sure he catch this one.
Nice.
No doubt. All right, I got one for you. Open-ended. So what's your favorite vacation spot? It could be in states or out of state.
Favorite vacation spot? I don't know. You know what it is? I go a lot of places. So I have a place I haven't been.
Say that.
Say that one?
Yeah, say that one.
I want to go to Maldives. Like,
okay.
Because when you looking at the video, whatever's happening, however they get into these bungalows, this as they just dropped you in there. You just in the blue water in the bungalow, and they like got see-through swimming pools. Yeah, that's the place I'm trying to get to. At some point, I'm gonna go. I don't know when, but you know what though? I would say I really enjoyed Cali.
Cali?
Yeah, same.
Yeah, like just being in Cali in comparison to like the East Coast, it's the same level of economic boom, but the pace is slower.
The vibe is just so chill too.
Yeah, right. And the seriousness around like dress and clothes, and it's just like, I'm about to wear these Vans, getting this Tesla, and like chill.
Right.
Yeah, it's different.
Like, yeah.
Different.
I enjoy Cali when I'm there.
Okay.
No doubt.
Who was your favorite actor on Power?
That's tough. Now, I think naturally, I think I like Ghost because of his want to transition
Right.
out of the game, right? And I think like though that never occurred, I felt like the active role to try and get out was something that I could relate to. And then I think like you know, men in general, no matter what color they are, just have just like weaknesses that we need to learn to control and be better at. Like, and so like seeing that play out and how like your choices impact your family and, you know, all of those things I thought was worthwhile TV.
Gotcha.
No doubt. No doubt. All right. So you got to pick one artist to listen to for the rest of your life. Just one. I'm gonna give you some options though. I'm gonna give you two options to people. So you have Future or Drake. The other one, just one. Gotta pick one. Other one, you don't know, they don't exist anymore.
I'm going with Drake.
All right.
Here's why. I don't have a corny Drake song. It's hard for me to pick a corny Drake. With Future, I can skip through some of those songs.
All right.
I'll be like, you know, I like Future, I like the songs, but I'm like, you might have dropped this album too fast, man. I need to message shit. So,
You might have dropped it too quick.
Yeah. You know, he'll hit you with one, 6 months later, you got the other one.
You gotta slow down, fam.
Yeah, like I'm still on Hendrix. You done came out with part 2.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
He's trying to get those streams.
Yeah.
The more you put it out, the more streams you get.
Right. All right, my last one. Jay-Z or Nas?
That's really easy for me.
Okay.
I guess I'm gonna have to say why, because for all the Nas fans out there. I'm a Jay-Z guy. But here's why. Like I never got into it was hard for me to connect with Nas because I always felt like as a kid growing up, he wasn't giving me the full story. I felt like he did things, he was a part of things, but he would never give me that. And so like when I was listening to Illmatic, I'm like, this is perfect. But then when you give me Ushiwali, I'm like, hold on, man. What? Right? And so I feel like as, you know, wild as Jay-Z was, he just always kept it like, yo, I did these things. I was a part of his lifestyle and I'm trying to like be better. And now to get to this new phase where it's like, yo, I did a lot of stuff and I even made it this far. Like, these are things we need to be considering. Like the O.J. Simpson story, you know, or Legacy, right? Like, and Nas just did too, because the new album is like The King's Disease. Like, I really like the album.
Me too.
So, but if I had to make a choice, I'm gonna go Jay.
All right, that's fair.
All right, my last one, I'm gonna take you back. It's gonna be a fashion one. All right.
Oh, man.
Better Jean, Omavis or Parasucos?
Ooh. Hey, we from the era, Dr. Mills. Come on, man.
Used to have the lights on. Remember the drinks with the lights?
Yeah.
But I would say Parasuco was way out of my price range back then. So I had all the old Mavis.
Those are fire too, though.
It was still fire
It was.
too.
Yeah. I had I was probably like a 36 with the 40s. 40 waist of Mavis. Just
They
might
sit,
even be shorts.
for
They
real,
look like jeans.
they sit right on some Timbs. We all know that on some nice butters.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, I'm gonna go to my, and I always, you know what it is too. I felt like, from what I understood, the designer was like from Jersey.
Okay.
I don't know how.
I think so. I think I heard something like that too.
I didn't know that.
I think it's what it was. He was from Jersey.
They probably sued me that at the Bricks and no, they probably.
Word.
Uh-huh.
Look, let me tell you the funny thing, Jimmy. I was going to actually say another one, but I was gonna say either throwback football jersey or throwback basketball jersey. Which one? But I figured I go with the jeans.
You might as well answer. It's out there.
The jerseys,
It's out
right?
there. The jersey's out there. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the basketball.
Basketballs used to be hard.
Bill Walton. Remember that joint? The Michelin
I
Bill
remember.
Walton?
Yep.
I remember like getting ready for like the Willie P basketball game. Like I would get like the third best player on the team just so I wouldn't have like it wouldn't be the one that everybody else had. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm gonna go. You know what, man? The football joints is hard, man.
Jim Brown, old Jim Brown, or I just thought I'd throw it out there.
Was good.
Yeah.
I like that joint. I think I even had this was one I used to pride myself on. The Michael Irvin college jersey for Miami.
Ooh, Miami.
I was like, yeah, I got that one. I
Yeah.
have that somewhere.
Real. Keep them because what's going to happen is they're going to be back out anyway.
Yeah, that's what happens. Yep.
Everything recycled. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
So, Dr. Mills, man, appreciate having you.
Appreciate you, man. Definitely.
Appreciate your time and all that. Love what you're doing with the school and with the students and everything like that. You want to shout out anything, social media stuff coming up or anything?
Shout out Accenture, right? Like doing a partnership with them.
No doubt.
Appreciate the love, appreciate the situation. Shout out to Hall Mills Network. The team over there, they just launched a movie called Lit for the Culture. It's about the dance scene, the club dance scene for young people in Newark. Nice. So that's got a positive response. So I'm a part of that company, but my team members have really been at the forefront of it, doing that work. So they're doing amazing work. Shout out to College Achieve, like, those parents, those families that's believing in what it is that we have going on here. Excited about that. For those of you out there that's on social media, like follow me at Principal Mills, Principal with a PAL. That's where I'll be dropping all the information. So I got a couple of things coming. I shared that the book, the children's book is coming out, and I'm hoping to make that a series of releases around just hard to talk about topics that teachers may struggle with or families may struggle with, that'll make it easier for them to communicate it. And student and children can understand. So yeah, and shout out to Montclair State for birthing two dope brothers.
Appreciate
you on campus. I love what y'all was doing. Again, when seeing brothers on the campus living with principles and values and standards, that meant something to me because I knew I was I could connect with people.
Word, man.
Appreciate
that, man.
We're proud of you too, man. Love what you're doing. Continue success. And we checking for you, man. We've been watching you for a while anyway. We know you've been making them moves.
Right.
So much love, man. Much love.
Same.
Yeah. All right. So you can catch the Great Minds podcast on YouTube. Anywhere else, podcasts can be listened to: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, and Amazon. So I appreciate y'all. Shout out again to Dr. Mills, and we're out. Peace.
All right.
Peace.
Great minds think alike. Great Minds podcast. Great minds think alike. Great Minds podcast. Great minds think alike. Great Minds podcast. Great minds think alike. Let's ride. You're now tuned into the Great Minds podcast. 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 Derrick the Vaughn, old boy like Cam on the song. Culture safe now, thank God. The panic is gone. Time to heal from the pain. Take the bandages off. You gotta win. The stakes are high like a cannabis bomb. Okay, it's game time. Picture with the balls. That's a FaceTime. Great minds spreading faster than a rumor through the grapevine. Vaughn and Derrick deserve the merit. All salute. It's more than just a podcast. Show it's like a movie. Vaughn and Derrick, what up? Great minds think alike. It's the Great Minds podcast. Great minds think alike. It's the Great Minds podcast. Great minds think alike. It's the Great Minds podcast. Great minds think alike. You're now tuned into the Great Minds podcast. You're now tuned into the Great Minds podcast. You're now tuned into the Great Minds podcast. You're now tuned into the Great Minds podcast.